Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, welcome back for another live broadcast of the Kev Baker Show right here on your number one network, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Yes, indeed. And for the first time this week, I'm all on my lonesome. But that's okay. That's okay because we have got a new secret weapon here on the show. And that is, of course, the phone lines. So I will be opening up the phone lines from the start of the show. As soon as I give the number out in a moment, I'll be opening up the phone lines and we're going to have open lines throughout the show. Now, if the phone lines start to back up, please don't be annoyed if I kind of keep your call time down to a minimum. Maybe the call lines will be entirely empty and I'll get to keep one of you here and interrogate you for a full segment of the show. I'm only joking. I wouldn't be like that. Come on, I don't roll like that. I'm not that bad, right? Right? Surely you don't think I'm that bad. Please tell me you don't think I'm that bad, folks. But no, I will be opening up the phone. So if you want to have your say on the Kev Baker Show, if you're watching on YouTube right now, big shout out to everyone there. The numbers are on the screen. But for our radio audience and the home of the Kev Baker Show, TFRlive.com, all you have to do is dial up the following numbers. Let me just pull them over here so I can see them. And the numbers that you need today are, if you're in the US, you dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Now, if you're outside of the US, like me, I'm over here in Scotland, you can still phone in. It's really easy. All you got to do is include the international dialing code. We've got a caller on the line from Chicago already. They've dropped off. I'm going to connect the phones in a moment, folks. Let me give the number out first. If you are in the UK or anywhere outside of the US, it's 0044 203 293 2871. That's 0044 203 393 2871. A big shout out to Susie as well. I see her leaving my name in orange over on YouTube. Mammoth, the maniac. And of course, we've got all of our brilliant people in the Wookiee Cave over at tfrlive.com/chat. And in there today, we have Bam, All One, Silamo, American Prisoner, Wise Wolf Radio, another show on the network. And we have got Smelly Pits. OMG. Wow, they're barking today, Smelly Pits. I'm getting a waft of them over here in Scotland. That is never, never good. I tell you, you talk about a sign of the apocalypse, and it might just be those Smelly Pits. Yes, indeed. I'm only joking. But welcome to everyone who's tuned in today. Like I say, we're going to open up the phones for you to have your say. Now, I'm just going to connect the phone lines now on Skype, and then that way, we're good to go. I've got the call board right in front of me. There'll be no delays in getting to your calls. So give me just one moment while I do the digits. Dang. There we go. We get that in there like that. Yes, indeed. We've got that on like that. And that there. I think that noise, that slight little hissing that we've heard coming onto the call may just be our phone lines connecting. Stand by, folks. The phones are nearly connected. We're just connecting them right now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you out there. Like I say, this really is the secret weapon of the Kev Baker Show in recent times. You've really, yeah, that definitely means the phone lines are open. When we've opened up the phones, it's unearthed a whole lot of information that perhaps we would never have heard before. Yeah, sure, we can post stuff on Facebook and Twitter and things like that. And you can find people's own personal stories that way. I don't know, there's something quite unique. There's something quite special about when you have a radio show and it's real people that call in every day. So I'm going to try as much as I can when we don't have a guest on the show to make sure that we always have the phone lines open. Because not only do I enjoy it, I know all of you out there enjoy it as well. And in the end of the day, you know, I have to really, really listen closely to you, the audience. It might be my name on the door. I'm very, very conscious of the kind of things you do like on the show, the kind of things that don't work on the show. And if I can't learn from the audience reaction along the way, then the show's going to stagnate and it's always going to stay the same. We'll never get any bigger and better. I think since we've opened up the phones, we're getting that personal touch. We're getting the stories we would never have found on social media. Never make the Mysterious Universe website that I often go to. And yeah, you people out there, you're the lifeblood of this show, you're the lifeblood of the network. And it's all about real people and your real stories. And today I had an earlier stream, I was talking about a new bizarre theory. I call it bizarre because it's all based around the interpretation of one word in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it kind of hints that perhaps we've got it all wrong when it comes to Noah's Ark and the pyramids. Could it be that there's a connection between Noah's Ark and the pyramids? Well, I was talking about that earlier on today. It really sparked my interest again in the ancient world. And I urge you all, if you want to check out some of that good woo, head on over to the Kev Baker Show YouTube channel and you can find it there. But I've got an article that we can get into while we're waiting for the phones to open up in a moment. And it's Ark and pyramid related. Now, let me say right off the bat, I don't know if I'm really on board with the whole Noah's Ark pyramid connection. And if you haven't heard about that, it's come about because of a new scan, a new technique that they've employed when trying to look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. They've used new wavelengths of light to bring forward, to show words that were once hidden. And of course, it left a kind of ambiguous slant to the interpretations. And one such story that was victim of one of these missing words, missing phrases that we hadn't been able to see, let alone translate. Well, one of them has now come to light, and it talks about the building and the tallness of Noah's Ark. And the word in there is Nesepharat. Now that, we are told in Hebrew, means gathering together or gathering. And the theory, the hypothesis, the idea goes that all of the ribs for the ark, the boat as we think it is, were then gathered together into a point at the top, an apex. And in fact, you know, it wasn't animals 2 by 2, it was the higher up people in Egypt at the time that had run into the pyramids and used them as shelter against rising floodwaters. It's controversial, I know. And like I say, I don't know if I'm totally on board with it. I love new ideas. Definitely gets the imagination going. And when it comes to the pyramids, you know me, I don't need no second asking to go and talk about those bad boys. There's something majestic, something very marvelous and mysterious about those monuments from our ancient past, and yet there they are, still stood there today, stood the test of time. I wonder how many of our buildings will still be standing 5,000 years from now, folks. I ain't too confident many of them will be around, you know, but the pyramids, they're still here. Maybe there won't be as much of them showing, maybe, you know, things will have happened, cataclysms come and go 5,000 years from now. Maybe the sands will be higher in Egypt. Maybe Egypt and Africa may be under the ocean, for all we know. Not so ridiculous when you see all of the other monuments and buildings and civilizations that, for some reason, seem to have slipped below the surface of the sea to become the seabed. New lands rise. The very active and changing world we're in, folks. It truly, truly is. Talk about active and interesting. The UK, we all have a laugh about these named storms that we get into nowadays, right? We had Storm Kiara. We're still dealing with the tail end of Storm Dennis. And now, it gets worse. It gets worse because the UK, we're about to get absolutely battered, hammered with, hang on now, I just need to fix something there. There we go. Yeah, we're about to get hammered with snow, folks. It's about to turn very, very wintry in the UK, indeed. I'll just pull this story up here. The UK weather warning, Britain faces 72 hours of snow as a brutal Arctic storm hits. And we've got some kind of North Atlantic cyclone that's developing, and we're being told it's going to be absolutely apocalyptic weather from now until the end of March. And if you think I'm making that up, there you go there. 20 inches of snow to hit as snow or sorry, his map shows deep freeze to last until March. Now, I'm not bringing you weather news to tell you, oh, there's something mysterious or conspiratorial going on here. It's winter, folks. We're an island nation in the North Sea. We're sandwiched by the North Sea, you know, the Channel, the Atlantic Ocean. Gets cold here typically in winters. So please don't think I'm bringing up this because I think there's anything mysterious going on. I'm just bringing it up because us people in Britain, being an island, I think that's why we're absolutely obsessed by the weather. But I tell you what, we've just had all these rains and everything else, and it caused havoc in the UK. Record flood warnings. You know, there's places still flooded out right now. Thoughts go to these people. Absolutely horrendous. And now no respite because we're about to get battered by Storm Ellen. Yes, not Ellen Degenerate. No, I hope she's not on her way. But Storm Ellen is about to hit us in the next 72 hours, bringing lots of snow. And it's winter, don't forget. It's going to be really, really cold. And yes, spare a thought for us people up in Scotland where it's bound to get the worst of it. Between Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, I would imagine we'll probably get battered. Absolutely battered. But let me just give out the phone numbers one more time because I think you're all getting a bit shy. You've all gone a bit stage fright. Usually I open up the phones in the second hour. Maybe you've got a bit more kind of woo about you by then. Maybe you've warmed up a bit. That's okay. We've got another story to get into here, but for anyone just tuning in and you want to phone in, then the numbers are as follows. All you got to dial is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Now, if you're in the UK or anywhere outside of the US, it's 203. In fact, scrap that. It's 0044 203 393 2871. It's 0044 203 393 2871. And just like that, we're going to our first caller, all the way from Austin, Texas. I don't think it's Alex Jones. Be funny if it was. But area code 512. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. What's your name and what do you want to get into this evening?
Hey, Kev, KBS, family, how you doing? This is Lich Gore.
Hey, Lich! It's so fabulous to talk to you. It really is. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, everything you do with the STREAMLABS chats. I really appreciate it. I really do. So what do you want to get into today, man?
Oh, just kind of chatting with the KBS family and yourself. You guys are awesome people. I think this speculations that we do, I think, are great. I mean, truly no one really knows what's going to happen or what's going on in this life, but it is fun to speculate and have fun. There's so many theories going out there. I think that really helps us out to connect as humans. The stories that we tell each other are great. It's real fun.
I do. I agree with you, brother. And, you know, it's been hard for me to really accept. And it's taken a long time for me to realize. And I imagine there's a few people like this out there that as much as we do investigate and as much as we put puzzles together, whether we get to the actual truth, the factual kind of meat and potatoes of what happened, say, in the ancient world, these pyramids, things like that, I do have my doubts if we'll ever get the actual proof, what it was all about, when it was done, who done it, why, what for. But like you say, I think it's really important, especially in these times when we're so technologically connected, that we do keep our oral traditions going. Because so much of our communication nowadays, Lich, is done online via text, via writing. And you know yourself, I mean, that can only convey so much of a message. So I do think having these kind of get-togethers, sitting around, openly admitting that it's speculation so that people don't think we're making any crazy claims, I can see only positive coming from that. And if nothing else, we get infotained for a couple of hours. We get to open our minds, we get to use our imagination, And again, that can be no bad thing, right?
Exactly. It's in our DNA. Before the written word, before the internet and all this stuff, everybody went around a campfire around their tribes and just told stories. I mean, that's how it happened, passed on from generation to generation. I think it's great.
No, I absolutely agree with you, Greg. Sorry, because I was speaking to Greg in the chat room there. Lich. Now, Lich, let me ask you then. You were in the chat earlier on for the earlier stream, and I was talking about Noah. I was talking about the Ark and things like that. I mean, for me, that new theory based on that one word, like Carol said earlier on, it's a bit of a leap to go from the Ark being the pyramid with one word. But what do you think about that?
Well, if you go back even to the Sumerian writings, there's been big floods in India. I mean, there's several texts that talk about a big flood. So it's not only the Bible, but there's several historical documents that talk about it. Just like any word, like the Greek translation to English in the Bible, it changes so many words and meanings. I think that one word can maybe mean different things that we don't even know about, basically.
Exactly. That I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with you there. And that's why, I probably triggered people earlier on, but I'm just being honest. I've got a problem when it comes to people would say my holy book would be the Bible, right? I've got a problem with that. It was a long time ago. Interpretations get skewed, things get lost, things get taken out, bits get put in. And then the big problem when you find out one of the last revisions of it was done in King James's time, again, I've a problem with that. And I think, like you said there, things can get skewed. And just one word being off can change the meaning entirely of one thing. And if that continues to happen throughout a translation, well, by the time you get to the end of it, you might be a million miles apart from what the actual story was. That's why I think we have to look at all these kind of ancient texts and try and piece together a puzzle. They say the languages were broken up and scattered. I think that's one way that we can find evidence for that. It was scattered into a billion pieces, and now we're left to put it back together, Lich, right?
Exactly. You got the Alexander's library broken up and burned down. There's so much information that was lost. You've got hidden books in the Vatican vault that we don't even know about. So there's a lot of hidden stuff that we don't know about our own about our own history.
Absolutely agree with you. Now, Lich, I've got another caller on the line. It's been absolutely fantastic to get to talk to you. Don't be a stranger. Take this opportunity
Oh, thanks a
anytime.
lot.
Yeah, phone in about anything because we're going to be doing a lot more of the phones, man.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, guys. Love y'all.
Oh, love you very much, Lich. So then we're going now. He was probably going to pretend he was Alex Jones, but you know me. I like to mess with Spooky Andy. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, Andy. Now, you had a theory earlier on about the strange noises that people have been hearing in Alaska, right?
Yeah, them whale farts, man.
I tell you, it's something. What do you make of those noises, though? I'm quite skeptical of some of them because I know some have been kind of taken and rehashed and done up. But even just one of them being real, I mean, what do you think it could be?
Well, if I say something, it's coming from experience, so I can say what I think it is because I think I've heard those noises before. But this is like real world experience where it's like not conjecture and speculation of what it is. So I have some friends that work in mines, in like underground mines, where they're getting ore for, I can't remember how it was years ago, but they're in Colorado here, and they go at like a 60-degree pitch into the base of the mountain, and these things go for like miles, man. And sorry for the background noise.
That's okay.
Rebuilding solenoids and stuff at my shop here. So some of that, it sounds like literally like machinery that's just earth movers. Not earth movers. I'm sorry. What am I trying to say here? There's like tunnel boring machines, and this isn't like something like nefarious or whatever. But the tunnel boring machines that they use to dig these holes to mine with. Now, I don't know about Anchorage, Alaska, but if you go into certain parts of the mountains, like let's say 2 o'clock in the morning, you can hear those kind of noises like here in Colorado. But that's like you're kind of like deep in the middle of nowhere, and that's what those noises are coming from. And I don't mean to like bust balls and make people be like, he said this, that, and the other again.
No, I've got this up on. I listen. To be honest with you, Andy, I think you're onto something. I've thought about this in the past before. It sounds like something grating against something else, and
yes,
yeah, I'm looking at pictures of these boring machines right now, and I don't mean they're literally like boring. I mean boring. They bore holes, tunnels, and even just when you start to think about the process of this great machine grinding its way through rock and metal, then for me, I think it is a good candidate for some of the noises that we've been hearing. And I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be perfectly nothing at all nefarious. It could be just somebody, like you say, doing mining. But then it could also be associated, perhaps now we're going a little bit woo here, but perhaps it could have something to do with these underground bases as well, the deep underground military bases. You know, they need tunnels to connect them. So what do you think of that, Andy? Could that be a potential?
I think so. I mean, it could be. If we want to go full woo-woo, I mean, there's stuff in Colorado. Like we were talking about it the other day. There's stuff in Colorado that people don't know about. Like I've personally gone to like a few of these Atlas II missile silos out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado just to go walk around. And, you know, it's just, you know, there's stuff that we don't know about that's underground that, you know, no one talks about. I mean, like even just look at those, I can't remember, where's that, those underground cities in like somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. Like they didn't find those until some dude just knocked a wall down out of nowhere, you know, in his house trying to, you know, dig a hole for a pantry or something like that. And he found it, you know?
Yep.
It's like if that exists, then literally anything can exist. So it's like we kind of got to put our, you know, critical thinking hat on here and be like, well, what could it really be, you know?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Now I'm going to let you get back to work, Andy. I don't want to keep you away from your work too long, but brother, thank you for phoning in again. And you're going to have to come and hang out for an hour on the show one day if you ever get a day off. I'm not joking, folks. This guy, how he manages to keep going is beyond me. He works literally 8 days a week, 25 hours a day. I'm obviously exaggerating, but you get the idea. So when you're off one afternoon or one night, Andy, I'd love for you to come and chill out. We'll get the Skype on. We'll get a nice clean connection. You don't have to worry about work. And we'll talk about Colorado some more, because that is a mysterious place in itself. Yep. Okay, Andy, you there?
Oh, my phone died.
Oh, no problems, man. We're right on the break anyway, Andy, but I'm going to message you. And what I was saying was we'll get you on for an hour one night real soon, and we'll get into Colorado. You know, you got the Denver airport, that kind of woo there. And Andy's right, you know, could be so much underground that we don't know about. And I can't prove to anyone right here just now that these boring machines, these tunneling machines that we can easily Google and look up online, I can't tell you that that noise is definitely attributed to that. But in my mind's eye, when I think about that process and what it may sound like when something is rotating slowly and cutting through a mountain, like Andy's saying here, you know, what kind of noise does that produce? And then think of the acoustics, because that noise then is going to come out of a tunnel. It's going to be focused noise that's going to be coming up the tunnel. It's going to affect the acoustics. What effect does that have when we hear it in the real world? Could it be these strange noises that people are reporting from Alaska to Australia? Well, join me after the break and we'll get into more of your calls on your show. There we go now, folks. There we go now. I'm still online with all of you great people here. Yeah, people were wondering what the noise was in Andy's phone. Like I say, Andy works like the most I've ever known anyone to work. I used to do like slave hours. I really did. But that guy there, fantastic. Honestly, the amount of work he puts in. But I get it because he's a geek like me and he works on geeky, electronic, robotic, AI type stuff. You know, so I would imagine that it's not so much a chore, more a labor of love, because I can tell Andy loves doing all that stuff. But thank you, Andy. Thank you, Lich, for phoning in. We'll go back after the break and we'll open up the phones again. Connie's saying Colorado Airport. Yes, Denver Airport. They built a full terminal that they ended up saying, you know what? We maybe don't need to use that. So they filled it in. And then you've got all of the strangeness at Denver International Airport. You've got that apocalyptic horse that once stood, it may still be there, out in the grounds. You've got the New World Aviation Authority and their big kind of monument there. Even the people at the airport started trolling people over the conspiracies surrounding their airport. They put in a talking gargoyle. Literally a gargoyle that was talking to people when they would come to the airport. And I know people went mad. They were like, oh, this is total proof. I think the gargoyle was more tongue-in-cheek, having a laugh at some of the more out there theories that exist. But that doesn't mean that all of the stuff that we speculate about Denver International Airport is bogus. Far from it. In fact, making a laugh and a joke out of the kind of things that we talk about in reference to Denver Airport, you know, it's a good way to kind of take the attention off, try and make it into a bit of a joke, try and make it all tongue in cheek. But there's definitely, in my opinion, something weird about that airport. With it being Colorado as well, there's a whole heap of military and governmental facilities in and around that place. And I've been led to believe in the past that if something really bad was to happen, you've got that continuity of government thing. Now, I don't know how true it is or not, but I believe they would all head to Denver, Colorado. And that's where the new kind of interim or emergency government would be put in place if ever there was any kind of catastrophe going on, say in Washington or in the US, stuff like that. How true that is, I don't know. I've never seen it for myself. Makes sense, though, that you would have these continuity of government plans. You hear a lot of talk about them online. You really, really do. And of course, governments have contingency plans. Is it Colorado they go to? And if they do, is there some kind of underground base there? Some kind of underground city, even perhaps? Makes the mind boggle, right? Oh, I love doing this. And we've got a caller on the line as soon as we go back to the network. So, yes. Now, one of our listeners as well, and I'll bring this up when we go back on air, but one of our listeners is actually in Arizona today. And they're in Arizona to witness or to attend Jordan Maxwell's very last public speaking appearance. So we're going to go back to the network now. We'll have the phones on. I've got somebody waiting on the line. There we go. We're back. We're live on the Kev Baker Show on tfrlive.com. Big shout out to Lich Gore. There's that noise. And a big shout out also to Andy. I almost forgot Spooky Andy had called there. And yeah, apologies for the noise on Spooky Andy's call. The guy's just constantly working. He's in his workshop. So hopefully we'll be able to get Andy on and we'll get into some Colorado woo real soon. I want to give a shout out to one of our long-time listeners on the network, Freeman. And Freeman was messaging me a few weeks ago to say that they would be going, or he'd be going to Arizona to attend Jordan Maxwell's very last speaking engagement. This is his last public kind of appearance. And Jordan Maxwell, for me, is not only one of the OGs of all of this, you know, but he is a giant amongst men when it comes to all of the research and trying to uncover the ways that the world really works. I remember being blown away time and time again listening to Jordan Maxwell back in the day when I myself was just starting to try and absorb all of this new information about how the world really works. And I learned so much about the monetary system, what that's really all about. Learned a lot about legalese, the law in a court, just like any other court, like a tennis court or a basketball court, things get battered from side to side and there's a judge. And yeah, I'll never forget having the opportunity to speak to Jordan. I think I had him on the show 3 times all in, and my only regret for that is that Jordan Maxwell, you know, he came too early in my radio career. Somebody saying Jordan Maxwell a disinformant. Trust me, most of the things that you know today from the world of alternative media probably were brought to the surface by that guy. When he was walking to libraries, when he was actually going boots on the ground to speak to people in the know. You know, it's a different time to be a researcher back in Jordan's day. Man, oh man, has he seen a big change in the world. But still to this day, I will go back to some of the information that I know Jordan brought forward. And even today when I'm reading the likes of David Icke's books, who I put up there on an equal pedestal, you know, a lot of the stuff that David writes about is stuff that Jordan himself, you know, he was on long before David was. And that's what I like about David Icke. He goes to all sources and he pulls it all together, and he sometimes gets a bit of bad press, as do all of these major prominent researchers at some point. Nobody's perfect, I get that, but when it comes to Jordan Maxwell, I have to doff my cap, because the amount of stuff that he opened my eyes to, yeah, I think that deserves great credit indeed. I really, really do. Is he always right? Nobody's always right. But I tell you what, a lot of the stuff that you think people are putting out for the first time today, and it can feel like that if you're just new to all this alternative information. But I would put money on it that if you were to dig deeper and look back, there's people that have been uncovering the exact same stuff a long time ago. And Jordan Maxwell, he was definitely one of them. So a big shout out to Freeman. I hope it goes well there. He was speaking to one of my other friends, Brad Olson. You know, he's down in, or he's going back to Antarctica, I think. But less about that, more about you, because it's your show. And I've got the phone lines and they're filling up nicely here. So we're going to go to area code 708. I think that's Illinois. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. Who am I speaking to? And what do you want to get into today? Talk to me. I'm here. 708. Are you there? All right. I'm gonna mute that call up. I will come back to it, but we've also got another caller on the line. This is area code 209. I think it's California. Welcome to the show, and who am I talking to? No, they've just hung up. They've just hung up now. So we'll try and go back. We'll try and go back to the first call. 708. Are you there? Talk to me. This is where it's going to start to sound like something like Kev's kind of seance service. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? I'm not hearing anyone. Bang. And Lance is asking if the Freeman I'm talking about is Freeman Fly. No, it's just one of our audience, one of the network supporters. Freeman, he goes by. And well, I'm not hearing anything from this caller on the line. So I'm just going to assume that they may be just listening in. So let's go back to, in fact, we're going to another place now, I think. Might be the same one. Area code 719. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. Are you there?
Hey, Kev, it's Rick from Colorado.
Hey, there we go. Colorado. That'll do me. Close enough.
Yeah, Colorado.
How you doing, man? What's going on with you, Rick? What do you want to get into today, brother?
Oh, I liked what you were saying about Colorado, dude. There's no better place to live right now, you know. I mean, there's some strange stuff. I live in the San Luis Valley, right? And we've got like the alien watchtower. People come here to, you know, weird things show up in the sky here, you know. In fact, I just had another sighting of my own 3 weeks ago. It's pretty cool, you know.
Now, Rick,
I'm proud of us.
Rick, tell us about your sighting or sightings. Tell us about that, man. That's exciting.
Well, I've had several, but the one 3 weeks ago, we had a clear blue sky, right? And I looked out the window, sunset, and I thought, well, that's a weird kind of black cloud, right? And then I went outside and was looking, and that was the only so-called cloud in the sky, and I just watched it, and it was moving over the top of something called Mount Greeny, which there's been a lot of sightings there. There may be a base or something going on that. It was back in the, I think, 70s. It was one of the sightings that was first triangulated with video, you know. Nobody was running around with cameras that stuck to them everywhere, you know, back then. And it made a lot of news and stuff. You know, it's just, it's constant. We have cattle mutilations going on. It's a crazy place to live, but I get off on it, really, you know.
Actually sounds like it could be my kind of place to live. I really do. I've met a few people from Colorado. Good friend Charlie Robinson, he stays there now. We've got Andy. He seems like a good guy. You seem like an amazing guy. There's like... the weed's legal. Mushrooms are legal. It's got all that beautiful scenery. Yeah, you got snow like Scotland. Right. I think it would be like a home from home, brother.
Yeah, you know, and it is. I'm proud of the people around us. You know, we stand up. We're the first ones who legalized marijuana. You know, decriminalized mushrooms lately, and it's in our face. You know, it's in our face, and you're going to wake up when it's in your face. You know?
Rick, let me pull on your experience here, because I can imagine a lot of people around the world that don't know about Colorado, that they're probably keen to know how it's going, you know, what it looks like there. Because anytime that there's been talk of stuff being legalized in the UK, you get the usual bad negative press saying how it's going to be full of people stoned out their head wandering around, and it's going to look like Amsterdam, and it'll be stinking. Yeah. But what's it look like in reality? Because I know your state is raking in billions in tax money, and that can only be good.
Yeah.
But how does it look on the ground? I mean, are you walking everywhere and you're smelling weed? I mean, what does it look like in Colorado to your average citizen?
No, I've barely run into any kind of discretions in this, you know. Just people are coming out of the closet. They used to be afraid of, you know, if their friend coming and visiting could smell the smoke in their house, you know. And it's totally different than it was 30 years ago, you know, completely different. It's out of the closet. We have overcrowding going on in Denver. The traffic can be hell now in Denver, you know. A lot of people have moved there because, you know, it's becoming freer. I would say if you're going to move to the States, Colorado would be the freest state that we've got right now. And I'm very proud of the people around me that have helped accomplish that, you know.
And quite right as well. It sounds like Colorado actually treats their citizens like adults. You know, giving you the choice whether you want to participate in a plant that is indigenous to this Earth, and a plant that also, miraculously enough, we've got something called the endocannabinoid system. I think that's what you call it.
Right.
And literally, it's there to absorb CBD, THC, and it's a system through our body. You know, I
Yes,
really
sir,
can't.
exactly.
I can't
Sure.
understand how in this day and age, Rick, that we're still having this debate in the UK. And I take my hat off to Colorado and all the other states that have followed suit, because A, it's common sense, and B, there's nothing more ridiculous than people being burdened for the rest of their life because maybe they got caught with a gram of marijuana at some point and they become
Oh,
some
yeah,
kind of illegal felon, you know?
It's absolutely ridiculous how many people are still stuck in prison. You know, they should be released. You know, we'll get there. You know, we just got to keep fighting for it. You know,
absolutely, brother. Now I've got nobody else on the line yet. So what else has been going on with you, Rick? I mean, talk to me a bit more about Colorado. We've got the Denver airport. Do you think there's a big underground complex there? I know there's a lot of speculation about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I wouldn't know anything about it. I have a cousin that thinks though that there is, because he was driving truck and involved in helping build it, and a lot of shit didn't make sense to him, you know. But who knows? Who knows what's going on? You know, it's weird stuff, like you're saying, the gargoyle and the horse, and it's I don't know myself. You know, I haven't. I'm very well aware of what everybody's saying about it and stuff, but I don't have any kind of proof. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I don't know.
And dude, I absolutely encourage honesty like that. You know, there's some things we just don't know. I find it interesting that you know somebody that was working on there and they had a bit of issue with it. That's really interesting, I must admit. Now, let's switch gears. How's your cloud busting been going? You been doing any more of that lately?
Yeah. I reached out and got another person involved in it just yesterday, actually. You know, you betcha. It's I don't know though. You know, like we were talking one time before, it may be what destroys us. You know, or we the bull in the china shop and we flood everything out. I mean, I heard people saying they're getting too much rain in Australia now, you know. We can consciousness experience ourselves out of I don't know. That stuff kind of gets under my craw anymore. There's some things going on here, right? Now think about what's happening. You're talking about satellites and stuff earlier. Well, yeah, if we're doing that, dude, right, and we weren't consciously aware of it, what is the weatherman doing? You're right. And we got all the word spell involved in it, just like you're talking Jordan Maxwell with the word spell involved in the court systems and whatnot.
Yep.
Right. They're forecasting, casting for us. You know, they taught us spelling, but not that we're casting spells. And we're casting like in a backward state, dude. Sanskrit. I think we should go back to Sanskrit as a world language, brother, right? Because from Hebrew to English, we got put completely backwards in something called nine code, right? Nikola Tesla stuff, right? In semantics.
Yep.
In syntax, right? Yeah, we should we're talking like Yoda compared to Sanskrit. You know, and there is mantras in Sanskrit you can say, and it changes the color of a candle flame. I haven't done it yet. You know, I'm happy with bursting clouds right now. That's just, I've got a superpower.
You know,
I love life.
You know, Rick.
I love getting out of bed every day and understanding. Pardon me.
You know, Rick, just to back you up there. You know, it may mean something, it may not. You might have hit on something really kind of cool here, because remember when we had Max from Germany on the show, and he was talking about...
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's a brilliant guy, brilliant. He was talking about these different kind of cycles and the different civilizations, and it was talking about how at one point we were very aware of the fact that we could do something called energy to matter you could actually convert energy to matter and matter back to energy. Now,
Back to
it
energy,
says that
yeah.
it says that over time, obviously, we became less in touch with these abilities. We became less spiritual, and we became more
Right.
disconnected from the source. Now, to me, what
Right.
you're talking about there with a mantra and changing flames and things like that, you know what? People might
Right.
think it's silly, but I think it's right. I think we probably do have the power to do that. But here's the thing, and I
Yeah.
think you'll agree with me. We need to be really careful, right? Because we don't know what genies we're letting
Yeah.
out of the bottle when we're playing with this kind of power.
Exactly. We may kill ourselves in it, because we just don't understand what our powers are. And right now, think about this, Kevin. What did it take for some entity? I don't care if you want reptoid, whatever. We are dealing with a wicked intelligence, right?
Yep.
And that was not accidental in our language to do that over how many thousands of years, or how long history is anyway, how bad we've been lied to. Whatever it boils down to, we are dealing with a wicked intelligence.
Yep.
And you can't just put that to the side. I don't care what you call it.
Both those
Satan,
words are
reptilian.
really key, because it's both wicked and it's highly intelligent. Whatever
Yeah.
this thing is we're up against, whatever it is that pulls the strings in this world from, beyond the veil, out with our visible light that we can see, it's definitely wicked. But never make the mistake
Right.
that these are some fools we're up against. This is highly intelligent. Couldn't agree with you more,
Right.
Rich. I was just going to say, I'm going to
Exactly.
have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to let you go now, only because we've had another
Okay.
caller holding on the line.
That's
But
right.
again, like I say to everyone,
Let him have a chance. brother.
yep, you call in next
Right.
time again, brother. I love hanging out with you. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
calling the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Take
No.
care, man.
You take care, man. Okay, and hopefully one day we'll get a smoke in Colorado. All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Come out,
brother.
Come out to Colorado. We'll dude. I don't pay for it. I grow my own. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's
All right,
what I
brother.
like to hear, man. Thank you, Rich. Now then, we're going to go to area code 403, and I think we're going to Canada this time. So welcome to the Kev Baker Show. It's great to talk to you.
Hello there. Yes, it's Alberta in Canada. How you doing?
Hey, what's your name? Who am I speaking to here?
Steve.
Steve. It's nice to meet you, Steve. So what's on your mind today, Steve?
Yeah, you too, Kev. I'm a fan of the show. I listen to it quite a bit. I'm just wondering. I mean, you're talking about sort of the intelligence that rules the world, and I have some interest in this for various reasons. But I was going to ask you if you've heard much about or gained much intelligence on the issue of targeted individuals lately.
Yep. Now, I work quite closely with Ella Free. She's got a show on the network here every Friday.
Oh, yeah.
She also does targeted individual calls. There's a website for anyone who feels they may be targeted called ffti.org. That's ffti.org. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Steve. I think that targeting is real. But on the flip side of that, I don't think that everyone who claims to be targeted are actually victims of this targeting. Now, that's not to put them down in any way whatsoever, but, maybe paranoia might slip in to some cases, and things that most people might not read into as being anything, they might start seeing them as a form of targeting. But that makes no difference to the fact that, in my opinion, there most definitely are people who are targeted both electronically with EMFs and all kind of acoustic bombardment. You get people who are also, for whatever reason, and this is the bit I can't put my finger on, they are gang stalked in a kind of targeted individual way. We hear about the street theatre that sometimes take place, and I've done a whole series of shows with Dr. Eric Karlstrom. So to answer your question, I do think it's real. However, I treat it by a case-by-case scenario because I don't think everyone who claims to be targeted actually is. Does that make sense to you, Steve, at all? I mean, do you know?
More than you know, Kevin. Yes, I agree with much of what you said. I'm just wondering if you think there's some connection between this great intelligence you were talking about earlier and the targeting.
There could be, you know,
this artificial intelligence.
They're very. You see, this is the thing because I'm really open to it about what's behind all of this, and even if it's individuals, humans like us that are doing it, where are they getting this prompting from to carry out these actions? And I know for many people it just doesn't make sense why Joe Blogs in the street might be getting targeted for A, B, C, or D when people like me, and I don't consider myself any kind of great threat to any agendas that are going on in the world, but you would probably be right in saying, well, somebody with their own podcast, they're putting a target on their back. Well, nothing's ever happened to me, but that doesn't mean that I discount that it can happen to people. And, you know, when you look at all the evidence and you weigh it all up and you look at some of the technology we have and things and some of the actual documents that are out there, then I do think for whatever reason, and I wish I could tell people why it is, but it does seem to me that there is some kind of global targeting going on. Whether it's to test it for a later date when we're all targeted, I don't know. Some of the stuff I hear Ella talking to me about, and it's off air, I won't share it, but it's horrendous. It's absolutely criminal what goes on, but it's proven it. And that's the hard part, isn't it?
Yes, it's quite an ingenious system.
Yes.
You know, and it's funny that it's rearing its head. And John, I had another question, but
how is it there in Canada, Steve? I mean, if you don't want to share, please don't. But I mean, are you somebody that's targeted, or do you know people that are?
Let's just say I know people that are.
Okay.
And I've also spoken to people like Ella Free and Mont and so on, and got some interesting information. I mean, you know, when you try to figure it out, like in the States, there's, Targeted Justice, the organization has something like 66,000 members, whatever that means. But it seems like whatever's happening to people, you know, they're aware of it to the tune of, you know, a few tens of thousands of people in North America. So that's not a huge number. It's less than 1% of the population, right? Significantly less. So they're kind of experimental numbers, or just people with extraordinarily bad luck. I don't know. But, you know, it also seems to be growing exponentially. So It's hard to say. I mean, and it is sort of a popular theory that it's largely experimental what's going on. In Canada, there's not a ton. There's certainly a lot more in the U.S. But there are some up here. But they're hard to find.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Most of the ones I've come across, Steve, are the U.S. Now, I know we've got somebody that comes into the chat room on YouTube called Targeted in Ireland, and they document their targeting. They make videos on what's going on with them. I do think there's a big element, might be experimental technologies to try and gauge what kind of effect it may have. But how criminal is that? Just think about that. That's in no way me giving, you know, some kind of cover for these people to do it. It's not an excuse in any way, shape, or form. You know, it's horrendous what's going on with these people. And it's the system as well, because the system is rigged against you. Because they make it so subtle, they make it so almost obscure that if you are to go to, say, a doctor or maybe a psychologist or something like that, you know, probably the first thing they're going to do is refer you to a shrink. And then you fall into that psychiatric kind of world. And the world of mind control and the world of targeting, you can't put a cigarette paper between them. So by going and asking questions and saying, you know, I think I'm being targeted, you're not doing yourself any good. In fact, you may be setting yourself up for even worse stuff to come. So, Steve, thank you for bringing that topic up. I'm really glad you did. I don't talk about it enough, but call again sometime real soon, Steve. It's great to hear from you, listeners. Thank you very much, brother. Now, there's the music. We're on the break. We're going to be coming back in 3 short minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Ah, yes, indeed, eh? Yes, indeed. The phone lines are definitely a good option. Now, Andy, I'm going to arrange a day. We're going to get Andy on hopefully next week. He's just dropped me a message on Skype. So we'll get him on next week. He won't be at work. We'll have nice audio. We'll be on Skype. And I'm keen to get more into the Colorado thing. I really am. And we've got a caller on the line already. I'm not connected at the moment. It's somebody in the UK. We'll get to that when we come back after the break. But I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here, folks. I'm just going to go and re-top up my cup, and I'll be back, and we'll get into more of your calls on your Kev Baker show. This is brilliant. I love it. You people rock. You know that? You all deserve your own show, and I'm giving you it. Okay, now we've got a sticker coming in. There it is. Thank you very much, Aussie Tiger. Hey, I love our Australian audience. G'day, Spots. Got a super chat coming in. Thank you, Shermanator. Let's go back to the network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's Your Show on your number one network. Yes, indeed. I say it's your show because it might be my name on the door. But the phone lines are open, and let's waste no more time. Big shout out to Aussie Tiger and the Shermanator Osborne for some super chats during the break. You people all rock, and that's why I'm using these phone lines more and more. I was just sitting speaking to Anne there during the break, and I'm saying, every time we open up these phones, I've got goosebumps. I've literally got goosebumps because you don't know what you're going to get next. Apart from that, and look, I didn't do that, no hands. I don't know why that happens, but it does. But we've got a caller from the United States, not from the United States, beg my pardon, from the UK, all the way from not so sunny UK. Welcome to the call. Your mobile number ends in the digits 428. I don't know if I recognise that one or not. Who am I talking to, and what do you want to get into today?
Oh, hello. Is that Kev Baker?
It certainly is Kev Baker. Who am I talking to?
Oh, hello. It is fantastic to talk to you. I've been subscribing to Truth Frequency for about 3 years now.
Oh, brother, thank you so much.
It's been fantastic. You feel like family to me, really do. I wanted to talk to you about empathy.
Okay.
I don't know if people really sort of realise until you actually meet somebody who doesn't have any empathy whatsoever. Sorry, my first time caller. I'm very nervous.
brother. Now, what's your name again? What's your name?
Andrew. My name's Andrew.
Andrew, you just chill out, right? Just think, this is what I do, okay? Because I hate speaking in front of people as well. So what I do is...
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if I got the right number or anything, so I just sort of phoned the number and I thought,
don't you worry about
the right
that.
number or what? So.
I'm gonna give you my top tip, right? And I tell this to any first-time guests that are on as well.
Yeah.
Ignore everything. Just talk to me. It's just me and you. Okay, so empathy. And you were talking about how, you very, or I think you were saying you very rarely kind of appreciate it until you come across somebody with none.
No, with little to no empathy. I mean, I've recently split up with my girlfriend about a month ago, and she had over the course of about 16 months I was seeing her, I came to realise that she had no empathy, and I came to realise that she had a sort of narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah.
But it was the lack of empathy that absolutely blew my mind away. And you often talk about it in this sort of truth sort of world, about the world leaders that don't have any empathy. And we sort of understand that. And we talk about it with they have no empathy and they just don't care about us or anything. They don't care about what they do to the general population. But until you actually meet somebody and live with somebody that actually has no empathy, when you think of the world leaders, you think it seems a bit distant. You can't really connect to it. We see that they don't care. You see that they
Andrew,
destroy people's lives. They can just kill people and not think about it.
No,
but until you actually meet somebody who has no empathy, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Andrew,
you just don't have that connection.
Now, Andrew, we're going to have a little interruption here in a second. There's going to be a little noise as we get a new member on the channel. Thank you very much, Ozzy. But, you're right. And when I think about it, I don't think I've ever been in contact with too many people that I would say have no empathy. Now, I know it's still a bit fresh. It's a bit raw, perhaps. And if you don't want to talk about it, then I totally understand. But what is it like then if you are in one of these relationships where you do have somebody, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of people on YouTube and social media. A good friend of mine, Jojo Seabacker, she talks a lot about narcissism and things like that.
Yeah.
In your experience, I mean, what's that like? It must be pretty horrendous, brother.
It's just I see myself as very sort of empathetic, empathic, whatever the word is. Yeah. I have great empathy for people. I can feel other people's emotions and stuff. I'm quite sort of tuned into that. And when you meet somebody that doesn't have that, and you actually confront them with it, you say to them, can you see this from my point of view? Can you see how I feel from this? How my feelings about this? How I feel about things? And the answer comes back, no. Just a straight, flat no. And it's alien. It's because when you think of world leaders, you think it's an abstract sort of thing because you're not connected to them. So it seems abstract that they just destroy people's lives. But when you're actually confronted with it, when you with somebody that's like that, it's just a completely alien concept. You just can't sort of understand it.
Yeah, no, I think
it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
No, and it's hard for me to relate to that as well because, like you, I'm a little emotional bubble. In fact, sometimes I might be too empathetic, if that's the word.
I know, I know the feeling,
Yeah, because sometimes I take too much on board, and even like I was saying last night with Ryan, even watching a movie or even an ad, sometimes an ad can set me off, I'm really emotional. So, but like somebody was saying in the chat room, and I think it's a good point, there can be a problem as well if people are too empathetic. Maybe we absorb too much of other people's problems, feelings, things like that. Right. But I would rather be overly empathetic than have none whatsoever.
I would rather feel emotion than feel nothing.
No, absolutely.
How can you go through life and feel nothing? Just feel for yourself. And nothing else.
But really,
how can
alien.
You not feel for fellow people?
It's almost alien, It's an alien concept for somebody that isn't a narcissist, isn't it?
I mean, it's completely blown my mind, and the abuse and stuff like that that's come from that. And it's really sort of rocked me to my sort of core level, my soul level.
You see, I want people to really listen to Andrew here. And you can tell in Andrew's voice that he is somebody that's got a lot of emotion in him. And the point I say I want you to listen to Andrew is because there's so much talk about, how men are abusive and how we're the problem in many relationships. But I think at the same time, it's almost like we struggle to talk about it the other way around. And I know it's hard for guys as well,
It's been very hard for me to come to terms with the fact that I've been in an abusive relationship. Very hard from a bloke's point of view. Very hard to come to terms with that.
I'm not even going to say
it's not like it's been sort of verbal and mental abuse. It's very difficult to come to terms with, and it's been crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and it's no different from when a man abuses a woman in the same way. Society, for some reason, the way we're geared up, and I know the world's getting a lot more woke, but if I put myself into your situation, I would find that hard to talk about. That macho side of me.
Yeah.
In fact, I might even not recognize it to begin with. I might just, make excuses for the other person. I'm not going to use Anne's name here because Anne isn't like that. But brother, I can only I feel for you, man. I really do. But the one thing I would say is that at least, and I know it might be hard, but at least you've got rid of that toxicity now.
Yeah, I mean, I had to walk away. I mean, I made the move to walk away. But the thing that's got me is it's really sort of rocked me to my core. Rocked me to my soul, and I've found it quite difficult to find how to cope with that and how to recover.
Well, listen,
that soul level again.
I think you're on the right path, and talking about it, I hope that helps. And I don't know if you're on Facebook or whatever, man, but if you're on Facebook,
No, I ditched that a while ago.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I've got an email. You can reach out to me anytime, dude. I'm always here. Some people seem to think if you've got a show, you're unapproachable. Couldn't be further from the truth. Sometimes I get busy, but man, just listening to your voice, dude, and stay strong, all right? And you're not alone.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's like I'd like the thing I'd like to say is that we think of that empathy level, when you talk about what all the world leaders and everything about they lack empathy, it seems abstract.
Yeah.
Until you meet somebody and it's real, really real, and if you ever meet somebody that has no empathy, it will absolutely blow your mind, and you will not be able to understand them.
Now where
you
do
will
you
not be able to understand.
Where do you think it comes from, Andrew? I mean, is it something that maybe? Do you think people are born that way? Do you think it's their upbringing? Yeah, it's hard to tell, right?
I think it's a lot to do with early stages in development.
Yeah.
Sort of early life. I think it's very much to do with early life and abuse in early life. So if you think of like sort of world, sort of people that are in power and stuff like that, they've been messed about with.
Yeah.
And they're not there by accident, because they're there by the power above them.
Exactly.
That want these sort of degenerate sort of people.
Yeah,
so they can be controlled.
That's why I could never.
It's no accident.
That's why I could never see myself in politics or being a boss of a company. No, I would be heartbroken if I ever had to sack somebody from my company. I wouldn't be able to do it, and that's why you find a lot of these the big CEOs, the big high flyers, they are very almost sociopathic, almost psychopaths, some of them. And the further you go up in power, the more psychopathic they become. Brother, call in anytime, okay? And thank you so much for sharing that on air.
It's been lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it's lovely to talk to you, but I honestly think that you talking about your story on air, I would imagine there's other people out there that maybe haven't spoke up yet, and maybe...
It's a different thing when you meet somebody with a sort of... again, it's this narcissism in society. And it's sort of broadening out, it's spreading, it's becoming more prevalent with people. This narcissism, it's awful narcissism. It's just a terrible thing to be.
You're absolutely right, Andrew. Thank you so much for calling in, brother. I'm going to go to our next caller now. But now that you've got the first call out of the way, okay? Now you're a regular caller and you can call in anytime. You know how to do it. You've got the number. And bro, we're always here, okay? You're never alone. That's one thing I like about this channel, this network. We do try and look out for each other, okay?
Thank you. I mean, TFR do feel like a little family to me, and, it's been really good for me.
And you, my friend, are a part of it. So I'll let you get back to your evening. Get wrapped up warm. We've got Storm Ellen on the way. Get ready for that one, Andrew. Thank you for calling in today, brother. Thank you. So I'm going to come into the chat room and things like that, soon, see what people are saying. But remember, we've got the phone lines open, okay? And if you want to phone the show, and please, come on, don't have a go at me. I'm trying to be nice here. I gave that person the floor. I let them have their say, and then I get abused at the end of it. I don't know the things I put up with. That's what makes the phone so brilliant, though. I love you people. So then, if you want to call in and make it your show and erase the memory of the last caller, all you got to do is dial the following numbers. If you're in the US, and hopefully it's not Bob Tuscan. Wait till I tell Popeye this. I'll know. I will find out, by the way, if that was Tuscan or not. And if it was Bob, I just wish he hadn't swore at me. I don't think I deserved that, right? But if you want to call the show, all you got to do, folks, is dial 213-233 3998. That's 213 sorry, let me start again. That put me all wrong there, okay? If you'd like to call into today's Kev Baker show and not abuse the host, the number is 213-233 3998. That's 213-233 3998. If you're outside of the US and you want to call into the show, it's not a problem. Chris and Cherie, they've got you covered. We have your back. And like Andrew says, we are a family here. And like any family, you get dysfunctional members like the last caller. That's okay. That's the crazy guy that comes to the wedding and everybody knows is going to get drunk by the end of the night. It's all right. There's always one. So if you're outside of the US, all you got to do is dial 0044 203 393 2871. That's 0044 203 393 2871. And I must apologise for any of the bad language that did go out at the very end of that call there. I thought we might escape without any foul language, but no, we didn't. Now, we've got somebody called Barbara, I think, on the line. Now, Barbara, we're going to be going to the break in just a moment. So I don't want to cram your information and speak to you in 2 minutes. I want to speak to you more relaxed. I want to give you a chance to say your thing. So what we'll do is, on the other side of the break, I'll take your call, okay? Don't go anywhere. And I believe your name's Barbara. If it's not, if somebody comes on and, my name's Hank, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes the caller ID goes a bit wrong here, okay? I want to go back to the other caller in this segment, if I may. Andrew. You know, being an empathetic kind of guy, listening to Andrew's story there was kind of hard. Now, me as a guy, I've never been in that situation. But I imagine there's a lot of men that are. And something about our toxicity. Us dudes, we don't like, you know, looking for help or anything. It's that macho thing, right? I know maybe we need to get a bit more woke and stuff, but you know, it must be really hard for somebody like Andrew to call into a show like this on his first time and share that. And I really appreciate the fact that he felt confident enough to do that. And I hope anyone out there who might be on the fence will phone in, well, not phone in, please phone in. It's honestly, it's not like a radio show. It's not like you're on YouTube or anything like that. It's just me and you talking, okay? And I'll try as best as I can to give you that supporting ear, let you, you know, and I'll try and give you advice. I can't always give you advice. That would be outrageous if I claimed to be able to do that. But as best I can, and along with the audience, I think we can all come together and try not to swear, folks. I managed to go 2 hours without swearing, and I'm a Scotsman. I tell you, that's hard going. It's the least you can do for myself and the network. We'll be back after these short messages. Don't go anywhere. Still your call, your show, your phones. I'll be right back. Ah, yes, indeedy. Yes, you sometimes get the most interesting of people calling you up when you're doing a show like this. Listen, folks, these things happen. It's okay. It's all good. And I'll come into the chat room. I'll see what people are saying. Queen Goddess says, I'm doing well. That was a tricky one, but I think we done all right. Listen, I'm still not I'm not poo-pooing the information that Bob or Faux Bob put out there. I'm being honest, I've never looked into that whole aspect, that whole storyline. I've never looked at it, so that was kind of new information to me. But you know what? On the surface of it, could it happen? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to look more into that, and I'm going to ignore the kind of cheekiness and stuff like that. That happens. Some people are like that. But there might be good information in there. So I'm going to check that out. And again, a big shout out to Andrew. You know, he said he was a member there of TFR for a couple of years. Folks, that's how you can get all of the back shows that I've done. There's like over 1,250 of them. I know there's so many ways to support the show, and I'm going to have to streamline it. But if you want to get access to all of my shows and any shows on the network, you know, TFR, go to your favorite hosts page. Might be me, might be Lucky and Dr. Brooks Agnew, it might be Ella, might be Chris and Cherie, could be Brent Thomas, could be the Flat Earth guys, whatever. When you go to their page and sign up there, the network, I don't know of any other network that does this. They give the host half of the subscription money and the other half goes into running the network. So you're literally supporting your favourite show and getting access to thousands of episodes of many shows. So if people want to do that, that's how you go about doing that. I'm going to get a quick drink of coffee. I'll be right back and we'll be going to, I think it's Barbara. And then we've got another caller on the line as well. Folks, I love this. I love the phone lines, even with the hiccups along the way, because TFR is all about real people, real radio. And oh boy, are we keeping it real big time. I'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. Somebody in the chat room saying a Liverpool accent and a Scottish one might be too much for the listeners. Dude, get that Scouse accent on here. Bring it on, man. Love the Scouse accent. Big shout out. Bella in the chat room says, check out what that last caller was talking about. There's information online about it. She's heard that story before. I'm going to be checking that out. I will check that out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into today's Kev Baker Show. But it's only the Kev Baker Show in name only, because it's your show. I've been threatening to do this for a long time, open up the phones for the full show. I'm actually starting to think this might be an avenue I want to go more and more. Yeah, we'll still have our big guests coming on, and, you know, we'll break up the guest shows with solo shows and phone-in shows, and I really am blown away by the standard of caller we get here. Anyone that's called up tonight, -1, can give themselves a huge pat on the back. Seriously. This is what Truth Frequency Radio has always been about. I get goosebumps doing this. I know this is the right show to be doing. I get it in my gut. I really do. I trust you lot immensely out there to come on here and share your stories, and you know, really every time you seem to raise the bar, one caller after the next. It just keeps going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait, because our caller from area code, I think it's area code 616, somebody phoned in, they dropped off the line. I'm going to give out the numbers one last time. Barbara, if you're out there, call me back. I know the break came along. I know it came along, but please call me back. And all you have to do, you ready? You got your pen and paper ready? Let's do it. All you got to do is call 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. If you're over here in not so great Britain, I'm only joking. It's fantastic here. The weather's great. It's 0044 203 393-2871 at 0044 203 393-2871. And ZX, one of our moderators in the YouTube, is saying, if we get people that moan, can we just cut them off? You know, I like to give people a say. To be honest with you, I should have dumped that call before the break. The minute they started talking, it was obvious it was going to go wrong. But I tell you what, the information we got sandwiched in the middle of the abuse was pretty good, right? And I'm thick-skinned, folks. I can take stuff like that. It's all good. Let us go to area code 303. And then we've got another caller on the line as well. So we're going to area code 303, and I think this is Denver, Colorado again. What is it about Colorado and the Kev Baker Show? Welcome onto the show, my friend. What's your name, and what do you want to talk about today?
Hey, Kev, this is Algorithm, and yes, Colorado loves the Kev Baker Show and loves TFR.
Algorithm, how you doing, man?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. That was an interesting last caller we had, so I'm waiting for you to erase the memory of the last caller. What do you want to talk about today, Algo?
Well, I kind of want to talk about your first caller and you and the people who come here, the people that come in the chat. This truly is a beautiful place of good minds and kind people. And I do think that unless once in a while you get a little bit of flack, you're probably not over the target. So
Precisely, dude, precisely. And being a Scotsman, we like to have a bit of witty banter back and forth. And if it gets a bit, a bit heated, that's okay. As long as people keep the language clean, that's the main thing. And like you say, you know you're on point. You know you're right over that target when you start taking the flack. So, what else you got? What else you got in your mind today, man? What else is going on in the world of algorithm?
I have a coworker. She's 23. We started talking. I was reading Zero Hedge today, and she was looking over my shoulder, and she was reading the coronavirus. I can't remember what you're supposed to call it now, but the coronavirus articles. And she was stunned because she believes herself to be college educated, into the know. She thinks she's got her fingers on the pulse of every single event, and she was dumbfounded at how little she knew about it.
This is something that I've been shocked because I've been hearing that it was Ryan yesterday, I think, was telling me off air that only recently, like the past couple of days or so, that the mainstream are really jumping on Corona, the COVID-19 in America. Yet if I compare that to the UK, they've pretty much been covering this from the get-go. And it's been a bit of a disparity between the coverage in the UK versus the coverage in the US. Now, we've got to remember that when COVID came along, it was against a backdrop of happening in America at the time. We had impeachment going on with all of that stuff. And you know what the mainstream media are like in the US when it comes to politics and things. So perhaps now that that's out the way and we've had the State of the Union, now maybe we've got the mainstream looking at what's going on with COVID. But let me ask you, Algo, I mean, what's your thoughts now that we've had more time to look at what's happening with the COVID-19? What's your major concerns or what do you think's happening there?
Oh, I expect a global pandemic, maybe not of a super death kill sort, but I don't see it slowing down. It only seems to be gaining momentum.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think I was listening today, there's Washington State, there's a number of people there who have been put under, almost been watched or been monitored because they've got some kind of symptoms, but they've not actually been given the test to find out if they've got the COVID virus. Now, that just sounds insane to me. It's not that I want us to be going around quarantining people, but at the same time, the potential for this to get out of control, like we've seen in China, I think, we should be very aware of that. Very, very aware. And I was listening to somebody on Cliff High's channel today, Algo, and he was talking to a doctor from Hong Kong. And of course, we've had all of the protests and everything in Hong Kong that's been happening. And he was saying that he expects in a couple of months' time that potentially Hong Kong itself, it could collapse. And you're looking at the other countries around there. You've got Japan, they've got the Olympics coming up and things. I think it's insane that they're going to be asking, the people to go to Japan for the Olympics. Nothing against the Japanese, but you're on the doorstep of a pandemic, So it's crazy, and I think we're only in the early stages now, Algo. That's my main takeaway. I think we're still a couple of weeks, maybe a month away from seeing just how far this will play out.
I'm right there with you. And the two things that I read that kind of surprised me today, they're bringing in 400 mobile incinerators into Wuhan. That's one article. And the other one, you were right about Washington State. They have 760 people that are being monitored, and whatever that means. In 24 days, those 760 people turn into 4,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Just with daily life.
Exactly. And
we'll see what happens.
And Algo, I mean, me and you aren't sitting here talking about, we need to open up camps and things, but common sense, even some kind of stay at home. Don't be going around people and test these people so we know. so that they themselves know if they're carrying this COVID or they're not. It smacks of insanity to me. And then we've got prison officers in the UK that are under self-quarantine now because we had a female prisoner. Didn't say where she had come from. Did say she was a non-UK citizen, but now she's got COVID. Now imagine that in a prison. That's probably even worse than on a cruise ship. And yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And this mobile incinerators thing, that's just utterly shocking. But you know, there's been reports of sulfur. I think it's sulfur being picked up in the air, and people have put that down to the incineration of corpses. I think.
Oh my!
I think if things are that bad and they're starting to get in mobile units, doesn't it start to not make sense, the numbers we're being told? I mean, I think we can all...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all accept that the
That
numbers...
is zero.
Yeah, they're low-ball numbers on a good day.
Right.
So, yeah, we can only wait and see. But Algo, thank you for calling up today, man. It's always great to talk to you.
Anytime.
And
you too, sir. I appreciate your show.
Dude, I appreciate you more because you listen to the show, you call in, you're always witty in the chat room. Love you to bits, Algo, okay?
Thanks, brother. Take care.
No problem, man. And now, last, I would imagine last, but not least, let's go to our good friend, regular caller, Kevin from Minnesota. How you doing, Kev?
Kev, neighbor, can you hear me? This might be an unsecure transmission line, but it will have to. I am calling from area 51 billion. Forgive me for the security level. But for your anniversary, while we 6 years, the power pack should not be had their eyes and ears on you. Thank you for doing what you do so well. May we receive many more to come again, my friend. From Area 51, love you, absolutely, totally, homo sapien. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy. Happy, ha, ha. This is the AI. You are now under our control. Resistance. The pseudo happy anniversary.
Okay, are you there, Kev? Are you there? That was just a message. That was like a recorded message. And he's gone. That was live from Area 51. We got a caller from Area 51, folks. We did. I'm going to replay that. We did. You heard it all there, right? You heard it. I know it was probably Kevin from Minnesota, right? But. If you want to call into the show, folks, and Kevin, thank you so much. And Kev, if you want to call back and speak to us yourself, please do so. I love when you call in, brother. Everyone laughing at that. No wonder. That was a good one. I honestly thought it was somebody from Area 51 there for a moment. But please, folks, you've got 20 minutes left. Not even. You've got 15 minutes left to speak to yours truly. And Kev, let me tell you, everybody, there's a collective LOL going on all around chat rooms and all around the YouTube, everyone. You couldn't make this stuff up. Only on the Kev Baker Show. I'm telling you, it's all happening here, right? But folks, I want you to call me. We've got enough time for another 2 or 3 callers if I'm really quick. All you got to do is dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Or if you're outside the US, it's 0044-203-393-2871. There you go. So please call in and we'll get to your calls. And yes, we've got another caller on. We've got another 2 callers on the line. Oh, here we go, folks. Here we go. We're going to the UK, and it's the last 3 digits of your mobile, my friend, is 237. Now, we've got a couple of callers from the UK on the line. So if your phone number ends in 237, welcome to the show. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Greetings, Kev. The name's Lee, and I'm calling from sunny coast Brighton in Camp UK.
Hey, Brighton, man. How is it down there?
It's grim, nasty, geoengineered to death.
Yeah, that
Not
sounds
good.
sounds about like the rest of the UK then.
I like to call it Camp UK these days. I've been calling it that for years.
Yeah. So talk to me, man. Is this the Scouse accent that we were promised was going to phone? And I detect a bit of Scouse there.
It's on the other side. It's the other side of the Murky River, a place called Birkenhead. It's basically on the side where the Wuhan coronavirus people got shipped to Arrow Park.
Yeah, that's right. What was that
I
all
used
about?
to live up there.
Is that like? I mean, is that the place where the UK designated that we would send people in the event of something like this? Why did they choose there?
I haven't got the foggiest clue, and according to the government's website, it should be a designated what they call a I think it's HCIV centre, a highly infectious disease centre, but it's not. It's just a nice place to put them.
Wow. Dang, dude. Because I was expecting people, when they got flown back from Wuhan, to end up maybe going into... I mean, I think they arrived at RAF Lynham. You know, they could easily have been kept in Lynham. It's a massive base there. They could have isolated them away. And folks, I'm not saying I want people locked up. But if you're coming back from a country where this is, come on, common sense, you know, you should be quite willing yourself to not want to be potentially spreading this. But what's your thoughts on that whole Wuhan thing, or anything you want to talk about? What do you make of it all, man?
Well, we might as well stay with the the Dean Koontz Wuhan 400 strain, mightn't we? I mean, everyone seems to be doing the rounds with. It just seems. I was saying I'm on a channel called Minds.com, and I was just having a chat with a few lads there, saying he's probably sitting there going, "I nailed that, didn't I?" In his book, I nailed that one.
Yeah, probably. And that book, I mean, what was it called? Was it something of darkness? Eyes of Darkness, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I read his books years ago. He'd done two good books called The Bad Place and Lightning when I used to read him above Stephen. He's a much better writer than Stephen King, but I read them when I was, 16, 17.
I agree with you. Far better than Stephen King. Stephen King's best days are long behind him. But, I mean,
yeah.
So your thought, can I ask, do you think it's something that's been deliberately done? Do you think it's something that accidentally got out? Or is it something entirely natural that can happen in the real world? What do you think?
To be honest, I mean, I've done a lot of studies on Ebola. I tracked both of those outbreaks years ago when they first came out, and I've done my philology reports and things. And the idea that it's a bat-derived virus concerns me a lot, because most people keep saying, oh, it came from someone who ate bat soup, but most people don't realise that bats can migrate hundreds of miles. I mean, most people don't realise that the Marburg virus in 1967 originated in Germany from a bat that came from Africa. I'm not sure many people know that.
No, I certainly didn't know that, brother. Didn't know that at all. So yeah. So yeah, the idea that it just came from bat soup, it's just a bit erroneous for me, because they can travel quite a while, and it seems convenient, doesn't it, that we talk about depopulation, and you look at the Georgia Guidestones, and they want 500 million in balance and harmony with the earth, and I'm thinking, well, okay, who's the biggest population centres? India, Pakistan, China. I mean, they've all got literally 1.5 billion to get rid of. So there's a good 30%. No,
if they just focused on those two haplotypes.
Yeah, brother, it's a cold way to look at it, but you're so right. I can't argue against you. I can't. And, we hear about depopulation a lot from these characters that think they run the planet, too many of us, etc. Do I think that any government has the potential to do this to their people? Yeah, I do. Do I think the Chinese government have been playing about with things they shouldn't be? As much as it'll probably hurt my channel for saying this, yeah, I do. And I'm quite concerned, I must admit, and I don't like talking about it too much these days, because I know from emails I've had that people were saying I was leaving them, quite fearful and things, and I get that. But how do you think this is going to play out in the long term then? You've looked at these kind of things before. I mean, nobody knows how it's going to play out, so don't think I'm putting you on the spot, brother. But What do you see happening in the next couple of weeks, month or so?
No, not at all. I mean, we're all here to speculate and hypothesize. But for me personally, I predicted this before Christmas. I was warning people they're going to drop a bioweapon because all of the movies are predictively programming us to accept it. I mean, if you look at any movie over the last 10 years, they've been slowly pre-programming us with an outbreak of something like this, whether it be a zombie virus or whether it be a pandemic. And it's always the same idea. Overpopulation, too many people. I mean, this program's been running since the 70s with movies like Zero Population Growth with Ollie Reed. Remember that one?
Yep, you're right. And Scott Lopez brought up the other night, and I think it fits in with this, is the fact that the zombie programming we had as well. We had it was like a season of zombie shows and zombie apocalypses and governments making zombie preparedness plans. I agree with you, dude, and I think there's always programming going on. And like you say, now you start putting this together, perhaps we have been programmed for this exact scenario that's playing out now.
It's funny you mention the zombie apocalypse. There's a movie, I can't actually recall the name of it now, but the one that the American government came out with years ago was called Complan 8888. Remember the document?
Yep.
Well, there's a movie, I can't remember what it's called now, but they talked exactly about that situation and that PDF that was on the military. So I thought that was an interesting one that they actually done a real live film based on that.
Big time, brother.
But when you start looking at things, like there's a TV series I would urge people to watch. It's called Helix from 2015. And when we talk about the elites, their elite version was called the Ilaria Corporation. And what they basically were doing was genetically changing a virus to be black goo.
Yep.
Or black goo came along.
That's a brilliant
show. Scenario. It's in the Antarctic.
Yeah,
it's in the Antarctic or it's in the Arctic, and it's released from its icy prison. And then they release the bioweapon in 17 locations, generally starting in Mexico. And it's the same idea. If they can't sterilize you using seedless fruits, and it's very biblical. It uses these strange biblical analogies where it's a seedless apple, and every man who eats it only affects the males. So when the males eat it, it sterilizes them, so they can control population by sterilizing all the men.
That's how you would do it, folks. Now I'm
And
going
to. They're all long. The funny thing is, Kev, they're all long-lived immortals. They've all got silver eyes, and they've got this black goo that they release.
Yep.
And it either makes you a rage, like the rage virus you see in most movies and zombies. They're always a rage virus. There's a rabies attachment to the virus.
Brother, Helix, I'm going to have to watch that show again. Great shout, great show, great call. Please call back again. I've got time for one more caller. Thanks for calling in today, man.
Nice.
Really appreciate it. And hey, that Scouse accent rocks, brother, all right? You bring it into this show more often. I love it.
All right, buddy. You're very welcome. Enjoy the night.
You too, my friend. You too. Now then, we've got another caller in the UK. And the last three digits are 596. You've got about 4 or 5 minutes. Talk to me. What's your name and what do you want to speak about?
Hi, Kev. It's Rick Anderson from down the water on Leeds.
Ah, Rick, how you doing, man? Somebody just there before you talking about the black goo again. It's Synchronicity, man.
I'll just carry on where your last caller left there. It was very good what you were saying.
Aye.
3 points on that. I'm not sure which one to put first. So I'll just give you an idea. One is frequencies, and the second one would be the military world games that were held in Wahoo just before the COVID-19 was made public, like a fortnight before sort of thing.
Yep.
And then the United Nations military forces all wearing blue hats at that event was very symbolic.
Very.
Symbolism all over the place.
Now the military games, I'd heard about the military games being over that neck of the woods. I think that is quite interesting, the timing of it. So what do you think all of these three things mean then? What do you think it all comes together as, Rick?
I think there's as Baldrick would say, they've got a cunning plan.
Aha, they do have a cunning plan. They always do, don't they?
Yeah, and it's hard to put it together, but I do, in my mind, see a connection with the World Games, the Military World Games, organised by the United Nations with all their blue hats. And you know how blue hats can get connected to all sorts of strange events, like in Syria, for instance.
Yeah. There's also been talk of the blue hats, the UN blue-hatted troops turning up in the US. If anything was ever to go down, that's been a long time talking point of people who have looked into some of the shenanigans, some of the cunning plans that are afoot. Yeah, beware the blue helmets.
Mm-hmm. The frequency part of the thinking here is, okay, there's not a known cure or from a chemical aspect to find and destroy the COVID-19. But interestingly enough, if you look at some research from all over the place that's been done on viruses in general, they've found that there's a reaction by only viruses to certain frequencies. It's like there's a physical movement in the virus to certain pulsed frequencies that does not affect like biological cells.
I get it. Yeah, if you could find.
Why haven't they?
Yeah, if we could find that sweet spot, that particular frequency, yeah, if we could get that, then yeah, and I think there's a lot of health stuff that can be fixed with frequency, Rick. I really do.
Yeah, I think they should get that more.
Yeah.
From ultrasonic. Ultrasonic's a very powerful one,
now,
but that would be very close range to the body or touching the body.
Now, we're out of time, Rick. We're out of time, but I'm going to have the...
Okay, thank you very much.
Brother,
good show again.
I will have the phones open second hour tomorrow for you and anyone else that wants to call in, but from myself and the network. Thank you so much for listening. Wherever you are, make it TFR.
Cheers, man.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one.
There we go, folks. There we go. And a big shout out to Rick. Brilliant. Thank you so much for calling in. Thanks to everyone for calling in. And how mysterious. It's almost as if, you know, Bob Tuscan must have known we were talking about him. And he turned up in the chat room. That's amazing, right? What a synchronicity. It must surely be a coincidence that somebody phoned up from Florida sounding like Bob, and then Bob turns up in the chat room. Dang, dude, dang. Hey, Bob, have I done something to annoy you? Was there any reason you swore at me? That's terrible, man. But wait till I get my little midget ninja friend onto you. I'll get Popeye to sort you right out. Although I suspect in the back of my mind, Popeye was probably there when Bob called me. It's how they roll. It's the way of the world, folks. It is. But guys, girls, theys, it's, z's and he's, and anything else out there. Thanks a lot. This has been brilliant today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. You people out there, you rock, man. Absolutely rock. Yeah, what's the chances, Lich? Imagine the chances of that. I tell you, better odds than playing the lottery. I tell you. But yeah, I want to thank everyone. Everyone that called in today. Fantastic, as per usual. And it means one thing, that we'll be doing more of these phone calls, more of open lines. And tomorrow night in hour number 2, the lines will be totally open. I'll have the phones open in hour number 1 tomorrow, but specifically so you can speak to Don Wiskin. Yes, tomorrow night. I'm going to be taking Don for his first outing on the simocast. Will be on TFR Live, and Don will be with me here on YouTube in hour number 1 as well. Now, tomorrow, it's going to go under the bracket of our number 1, sponsored content. So there'll be no ads on tomorrow's video if you tune in, because Dawn is going to be coming on. We're going to be talking about Extendivite. And because of that, I have to tell YouTube that there's going to be a product placement. And to that end, then tomorrow's show, it's the first time I've ever been able to say this, but tomorrow's show will be sponsored by Extendivite. So please join me tomorrow, hour 1 and hour 2, when we'll be opening up the phones once again for all of you to call in. We're going to be doing health in hour number 1. We'll be talking about myself and Dawn, our story, and a story that many other people share out there. You're part of the Hearty Club. You know, you might have cardiovascular problems. You might just want to boost your immune system. Please tune in tomorrow to find out more about all of that. And of course, for more open lines where you can have your say. And Bob, if you're out there still, you know I love you, brother. You know I do. I love everyone. You can abuse me anytime. It's all good. Hey, Lance. Wow, man. Honestly, bro. Dude.
Go buy a ticket.
Go buy a ticket. Where do you want me to get a ticket to? And Lance, you don't need to super chat it. Just tell me in the chat room, dude. Honestly, you more than enough there. Thank you so much. Some tunes on. Yes, indeed. Great callers. Excellent show. 5-star from Jimmy. Jimmy will be here tomorrow, and it'll be 6 p.m. in the UK. That's 1 p.m. on the East Coast and 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Right here, Safe Space on the Kev Baker Show channel. Becky, no, it's not even a case of that I'm sponsored. It's I work with Dawn Wiskin. Myself and Dawn have formed a really strong relationship, and Dawn is a big sponsor of the network. So tomorrow I take Dawn on to the show, and we'll talk about stuff relating to Extendivite, his product. So that way I don't ask for any super chats tomorrow. I'll turn that off. I'll turn the adverts off, and you'll probably see a little message saying sponsored content or product placement. Don't worry about that. That's just me keeping us right on the back end of YouTube, and everything will be good. Normal show, only simulcasting. I'll see if Dawn's got a camera. Maybe we'll get Dawn to go on camera as well. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to every show. And a big shout out to Andy as well. And Andy's just messaged me on Skype there. I'm going to go and look at my calendar. I'm going to get some dates from Andy, and we're going to figure out a day next week when he can come on. No interruptions. And we'll get into some of this Colorado woo. But for the last time today, thank you all so much, folks. Been a brilliant day. A great stream earlier on. Great show tonight. It's the buzz. I tell you, you people, you're just special, okay? Just know that, alright? And you mean the world to me. And there'd be no TFR, be no KBS without all of you. So until next time, keep it real. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. There you go. There's some music on. I'll leave the chat room open for a little bit yet. You know, I see you all saying goodbye, loving each other. Night, John Boy. Night, Sue Ellen.